Hello dear friends, Alexis here, and if you would like to come for a walk with me, here I am in the rainforest, and we've had quite a rainy time. Overnight it rained a lot and it's very windy. It's been windy for quite a few days and it feels like big cleansing, the waters and the winds blowing away so many things, so many energies. And it is autumn here, September 2021. And so what a year it's been so far. Quite a difficult, challenging one energetically for many people. It feels like in some ways, we're going back with certain issues with what's happening in the world. And, for people working with the energies, they've had to, including me, we've had to face quite big things this year. So it certainly hasn't been easy. It's been the hardest year so far in the last quite a few years. Here's a tree that fell over maybe 2 years ago in one of the storms. So this year, yes, it's definitely not easy for many of us, because things that we've had to face, things that we've had to work through, realize and move on, the energies haven't been easy. And at the same time, the new earth has been more accessible than ever. So it's been a year full of everything, full of all sorts of experiences, but not an easy one. If you can hear the wind blowing through the canopies, I just love this. I love this kind of weather. Outside, still a bit overcast, but the sun is kind of coming through as well. And it's beautiful how the rays shine through the canopy, making this kind of diffused, beautiful light. Okay, so back to the energies. Yeah, the energies have been very intense. So if you feel as if, in some ways you can feel that you've gone backwards, you haven't really. It's just that the deeper layers of stuff have come up for the actual final cleansing, final moving on. And in the last month especially, it's been so important to keep that feeling, to keep that experience of new earth within you, actually to be in that new earth. Because the choice is so easy to go back, to perhaps, go into those kind of emotions or feelings of, oh no, not again, or sort of being stuck, going over and over with your mind over the problems, whether it's the world problems, whether it's your personal things, whether it's the memories and aspects and all sorts of things that are coming up. And so it's easy to spend time within that, because in some ways it feels like as if you are sort of solving things, moving on, resolving things. But it is just actually using the mind energy to go over and over and over things. It is not really being in the new earth. It is so important to realize that the issues of the old earth and all of the things that like you can see on the news or perhaps that are happening around you, they actually don't need a solution. For example, let's say if there's something going on within your community, of course you can participate, to make things easier to live within your community, to make your area more beautiful, more clean, more just, all of those kind of things, as long as you don't get stuck in those problems. But so that's a different thing to be involved with than being living, existing within yourself in the old earth. You can be in the new earth and be involved in a community, resolving things or whatever it is that your heart wants to do. So that's one thing, to actually discern which one you are in at any moment on any day. Another thing is also to realize that even more than before, you can feel to yourself even quite heartless in some ways, because you are moving on. We are moving on from all of these old things, and it feels like we're leaving people behind in trouble. But this is not the case. They are in their own relationship with their own soul, on their own pathway, on their own soul fulfillment journey, on their own soul discovery journey. And we cannot do this for anyone else. All that we can do, it truly is. And we need this kind of confirmation over and over, because a lot of people within the spiritual community also can look at us and feel, wow, you don't care, but it's not true. We are just being more and more discerning about staying within the new earth, where there are no victims, where there are no abusers. And so we don't have to bring that battle spirit. We don't have to bring empathy and sympathy with us, because those ones are actually feeding energy. What is here is unconditional acceptance, unconditional compassion. So then another thing, that we can be sort of stuck on is on going round and round in those issues and problems in the mind. And because of all of the work that we've done, we do in general feel much better in general during the day. So it's easy to think that, wow, I am actually in the new earth, while you're still playing in the old earth, because with your mind, with the patterns, with how you are playing in the old earth. So if you haven't had experiences where you can really see within yourself when you're in the old earth or when you're in the new earth, then ask yourself to give yourself that experience. There are so many things that we can do in this new earth that are available to us, that we don't avail ourselves on daily basis. They are just there, and then don't become activated unless we ask for them. So become much more, okay with directing this journey, in a sense that, for example, ask, for example, your dreams to be a certain way, or your dreams to be clearer, or your dreams to perhaps speak with you with more clarity, or ask of yourself that you understand your dreams with more clarity. For example, that's just one example, but within the day you can actually do a lot of these kind of things, where you can use your masterly abilities to live, to help yourself, to sort of have magic, to live magic, and to keep having that clarity, to keep stepping into that new earth. And so this new earth way of being, you will become really clear when you're in it, or when you're in the old earth within yourself, because you will get to recognize that feeling of new earth, what it feels like and what it doesn't feel like, what it feels like when you're out. When you're in the new earth, of course, there is no fear. Everything is well in your creation, and you can enjoy your life, and you have this incredible acceptance of yourself. So these are just a few things that you can tell that you're in the new earth. And sometimes you do have to, depending on what your situation is, whether you live within the city and you're constantly surrounded by thick mass consciousness, you may have to keep stepping into that new earth, making that choice, and consciously stepping into the new earth, consciously stopping that train of thought, consciously choosing to move out of the old earth. And as I mentioned before, one of the big things is to realize that there is nothing to resolve in the old earth. You see, the storylines don't have to have completion. You will find that in many ways you are completing a lot of things, meaning that you have perhaps reestablished new and peaceful and respectful relationships with people that perhaps before you didn't get along with, or you just were able to, either they moved out of your life or you've moved on somewhere else so that they're not in your life anymore. But in general, you see, all of the situations around the world and things like that don't really need resolution, but it is to realize that the resolution of those things is about stepping out, and you can step out at any time, and that is the completion of that story. It doesn't have to do with actually sort of like finalizing that particular narrative or resolving that narrative, or that it finalizes in a way as the movie's finished. Everyone then lives happily ever after. And it is true, when you are in a new earth, you do live happily ever after, forever in this sense. But you haven't had to really resolve the old narratives. You haven't had to resolve the world, for even the old earth is perfect. And this is one of the hardest things to realize, that the old earth as it is, with all the pain and suffering, with all these things in it, is perfect. And it is perfect because it is playground of the souls who knowingly, with compassion, created this world in order to explore all of their different aspects. And so Earth is a place, old Earth was a playground where one could experience 100% of the range of things, from the very worst to the very best. Perhaps, yes, we have been so good at it, at this thing, at being actors, that we have engrossed ourselves completely, and we found ourselves that it was very hard to extract, to realize that it was a game. After we've engrossed ourselves so deeply, we forgot. The mind became stronger, a bigger player, and so it's been more challenging to come out of it. But now, coming out, it is possible, and no solution, no resolution is required to the old narratives, to the old games. And you will see that as soon as you start really living that new earth, your perception of everything will continually change, and you will see everything from a very, very different perspective. And so my main message of today is to hopefully, so those examples have helped to clarify the job of now, so to speak. And it is the main job is to keep stepping, choosing the new earth within you, to keep becoming clearer and clearer about what it is, how it feels, how it doesn't feel, so that you keep living in that space. And so for me, I will keep walking, going around this beautiful forested place filled with ferns and wonderful trees and winds and elements. And I just love looking at all the way the light, sun rays play with the trees and the leaves. And until next time, see ya.